welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast from the Impact Power Sports Studio. I sound like shit. I understand that. I think I might be able to get into second gear. Frankly, but believe it or not, as bad as it sounds, I think I actually feel somewhat better. It was a day yesterday of rest recommended by you all. You know, I started that deal yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to power through. And then as soon as I started realizing that, you know, it's 2 hours, and then I just started to like, fuck, this hurts. It's just painful. Hang on. Excuse me. And you're going to get that as whatever it is that is in my system has now gone to like the area that makes me cough more further deep down in the cockles of my soul. And the more I talk, the more I'm going to cough. In fact, I wouldn't even rule out throwing in the towel on this today. It wouldn't surprise me at all if I just can't stop coughing, because that's where I'm at right now. If I don't talk, I don't cough. So there's that. But I'll give it my best for a little bit at least. Appreciate your patience yesterday. Tyler says, where are the cockles of your soul? Well, I don't know. I would describe it as the spot where it just feels like it needs to be scratched. There's the cockles right there. Megan is here. Show mom. She writes, EZ County Commissioners meeting tonight at 6:30. Interviews? Well, I don't know. It depends. The only thing I'm interested in that is how the whole infighting thing with those people. I talked to a person yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, who knows our pal Joe Moss personally and has supported him from the jump until now. Because I'm telling you, the only thing that makes our Republicans more upset than a bunch of, drag queens reading to children is our county officials spending their Dutch money. All right, that's where they draw the line. They draw the line there. So this pal of mine is like, I can't even. It's become so ridiculous. Megan says, interviews feel like a no. I didn't know you were having issues with your cockles. Yes, but no big deal. I think I could, but I don't know who to talk to. Tim suggests silent podcast. Make it like charades, and the audience can take wild guesses. I see Ashley is here. Here. I don't know why I said that. I see Ashley is here. Fresh off of her fake concussion. She was trying to dominate the show 2 days ago when I finally got a chance to look at my phone. All sorts of, oh my God, you won't believe it. Share these pictures. I was so badly hurt. I was concussed. She like bumped her head or something like that. And then I'm like, what? She diagnosed herself a concussion. And then later in the day, when it was so nice out, she went out and played golf. You did not have a concussion. Shut up. No, an actual doctor did that. No. I don't believe you. I don't believe that you went to a physician and got diagnosed with a concussion. It's no. I would need to actually see a doctor's note. So shut up. All right. So yesterday, I was doing this show, and it kind of like, after getting started, I was like, okay, forget it. So when I shut it all down, I've got 3 cups of coffee in me at that point. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going back to bed. All right. So I kind of just sat here, took care of some busy, boring work, some things that I've been, you know what I did? I actually started getting all my tax shit together because the tax hobbit is going to see me shortly. And you got to gather up all your documents and shit. I'm like, oh my God. Saw how much I peeled off of my retirement to pay for Madison's school. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You know, when you're peeling it off to pay the tuition bills, you don't realize, and then you add them all up, and it's like, oh my God. All right. Now you hear Darla in the background on Take Your Dog to Work Day. Let me just tell you, yesterday she was so not in my good graces that if she continues that for any amount of time, I'm going to bring her downstairs and put her in the crate. Okay? We just can't have that. By the way, you're going to hear a lot of snorts and phlegm swallowing. Hang on. Oh, that was a good one. I take her outside yesterday. She's on her leash. Bruce and Darla do not go on without a leash on. Or they don't go out without a leash on. Okay, Darla's a runner. And here it's pitch black. I've had a exhausting day. And by the way, I feel I'm starting to think that I can do at least half of this show today, maybe more. I'm actually feeling decent. Time will tell. Yesterday, no way. Darla has a tendency. She will actually bite the leash. And she starts like whipping her head around like she's in a tug of war. And son of a bitch, she pulled the leash right out of my hand. Now, typically, she doesn't realize that I'm not hanging on to it. But after she took a few steps and didn't feel me like tugging on it, she realized, oh my God, I've done it. I'm free. So I've got Bruce on his leash. It's pitch black. I feel like shit. O'Neill's in the backyard. He's got his little tracker on. So in case he wanders away, I can always go and get him, which he does do. Now Darla is taking off into the night through the cul-de-sac, and she is headed to oblivion. It's like, and I can barely see her. It's so dark out. I mean, it's completely dark out. There's just one street light in the cul-de-sac, and it's barely lighting up anything. And then Darla! I mean, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the cul-de-sac, screaming Darla. And I'm like, oh. And I can barely move. I got my Crocs on. It's freezing. She circles back. Thank God. And now she's like running around me. Like I'm the sun and she's the earth, just running around me, living her best life. The leash is dragging behind her. And if she could talk, she'd just be like, aha, fuck you. I've waited for this for so long. Fuck off. And then she'll stop. And then as I get closer to her, she'll and then she'll take off again. She's got the zoomies so bad. And Bruce wants to chase her, so he's pulling me. And I'm like, just hang on to him for dear life. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So this goes on for like 5 minutes. And I just feel like such an idiot and completely helpless. And I'm thinking about calling my neighbor, Etta, and said, Etta, I need your help because Darla will run up to you because you're new. He's not going to run up to me she's not going to run up to me because she knows I'm chasing her. But if you come out, she's going to be like, oh, someone new. So I'm debating that. Then, out of the blue, O'Neill has jumped down the retaining wall and come around the house. And now all of a sudden, O'Neill is right there. And it's as if he's saying, hey, I'll help you. And so Darla, and it did because Darla wants to play with him. So O'Neill's standing close to me. And then she runs up to him and starts to abuse him. And then we're on the front yard of my neighbor Don. Now, so you got me, the Hallelujahs, and then Don Gouda. That's his name, Gouda, like the cheese. So I always call him the Big Cheese. Hey, Big Cheese, Don Gouda. And he's like, yeah. So anyway, I'm on the Big Cheese's front yard, and I do a dive. And boy, did that hurt when I hit the ground. That wasn't great at all. I was like, oh, my God. You really feel your age when you get to a certain point. I think it compounds annually like interest. It's just like every year. It's like whenever I see like a kid hit the ground playing in the yard like my neighbors, I'm like, God damn, if I fell like that kid just fell there, I'd be in the hospital for a month. So I'm like, it scrambles my eggs. I'm like, God damn it. This happens like 2 or 3 more times. Finally, O'Neill starts to go back over to like my yard, and same thing, Darla following him, attacking him, and then she runs around a little more, attacks him again. And finally, I got close enough. I was able to step on the leash. And holy shit. And I was so hoarse. I think that might be why I'm hoarse right now. I mean, I wasn't in any shape to be doing anything more than walk out there, walk back in the house, and then continue my evening of doing nothing. But there I am, diving on my neighbor's front lawn, chasing Darla. And I was so fucking pissed off after that it took me like the rest of the night to, I mean, like if someone, okay, let's say that someone burst into the house, home invasion, and they had a gun, and someone said, all right, the home invader said, something's going to die. What is it? I would say, kill that dog. Just shoot that dog. If you got to kill one thing, shoot. Leave the other dogs alone. Leave the people alone. Shoot that dog. In fact, I will shoot it for you. I'm that pissed off. Shoot that fucking dog and then leave us alone. I was incorrigible. I was so pissed off. I haven't been that pissed off in a long time. Last time I was that pissed off, I was yelling at Aram and Amanda. However many days ago that was. Oh, my God. So, finally got that out of me. You know, that's the thing. You got to just time heals everything. Now, then I come back to the pack. Then I'm like, all right, okay, everything's okay. Excuse me. You're going to get a lot of that. You're going to get a lot of that today. Then I take the nighttime cold medicine, which I thought there was something in the news that said that that cough medicine doesn't work anymore. That's been like proven wrong. Wasn't there something in the news about how all these cold medicines don't work? Well, I mean, I don't know. I took it, and hang on. Damn it. It seemed to be effective, but maybe it just put me to sleep. I don't know, because I was out. I was out like a light, and nothing better than waking up, and you feel like you've been sleeping for like a year, and then it's only like midnight. I was like, oh, shit, yes. I abandoned in the last 48 hours all attempts to get up earlier. Remember I told you I was getting up earlier? And I don't know, maybe this has something to do with how that affects a person, because I haven't been sick since the last time I had COVID, which was a year and 3 months ago. All right? At all. And the second I start getting up earlier, slowly turning the clock back, getting ready for the morning radio show on March 18th, that I'll be doing here. Yeah, here I am. I'm sick as a fucking dog. So my God damn it. And I when back in morning radio days, I hated. I mean, it was always, the absolute worst. So, that's in the back of my brain about how this affects a person. I think the level that I was at for the past 5 years, getting up at 6:20, 6:30, 6:40, I think that's the absolute perfect sweet spot for me, because I can Get up at that hour, and then I'm good the whole day. I don't need a goddamn nap. And then, but now, since we're winding the clock back, I'll be getting up in the 4 o'clock hour. I mean, that changes the game. I need a something to recharge during the day. So that is unavoidable. There's no workaround for that. Okay. And I think already I'm where my life expectancy was increasing during these past 5 years and in 3 months, 2 months. It's now going to start decreasing again with this. But that's okay. That's okay. This is what I wanted. Okay. This is what I asked for. And this is what I'm doing. So the idea about the radio show, I really want to float the idea of Who Are These Zanes Morning Radio Edition. It's only fair. If I'm going to review Free Beer and Hot Wing shows, but I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. Maybe this is a Ben Glaze job. Maybe this is another audience member who wants to pick up the slack and review the audio for Who Are These Zanes. But I could totally see this being a show where Who Are These Zanes we can review. So you would get the audio from those shows. Okay, this is when you did this, and this was stupid. And then I'm just sitting here wincing in pain, giving you my account of it. I'm about 15% there on this show, but I think that could be fun. So that's something I'm planning on. All right. Talking health. There's a school right around the corner called Sandy Hill Elementary. They shut down the whole school because so many kids are sick with what I have. All right. Now, what I have is just a fraction of what these kids are going through. All right. It's so bad. It's, I don't know if it's that what's known as a norovirus, which is fast spreading and extremely contagious. So many kids have this. They said, okay, we're shutting down the school and we're deep cleaning the school. This has to run its course. We got to stop it. So I don't know what's going on, but Pooh Bear, she was sick not long ago, and she brought this home. I'm 100% convinced that she brought this into the household. Whew. Blue Chaos says, Sandy Hill is my alma mater. Megan, show mom, writes, parents of little kids, put a glow stick in the bottom of the trash can under a bag so that they can make it into the trash can. Oh, for puking. Maureen says, I nominate Ryan Weber if Ben Glaze can't do it. Barfing kids are the worst. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I remember when Jim was 2. That is when I learned of rotavirus. Oh, my God. We were driving in the old Corsica, traveling from Midland down to the Detroit area to visit. It was Easy, Pooh Bear, and Little Jim. And all of a sudden, Diana is freaking out. Jim is in the back seat. He threw up, and the throw up shot over her seat back and hit the back of her head and now is running down her back of her neck. It was that intense of a vomit. Like, what the fuck? Also, when that happened, he shit himself. It's like, oh boy, this is the big one. So, okay, pull over. Best we can. Talk about you're screwed. So bad. By the time we get home, it's happening more and more. It doesn't take long until he's dehydrated. Okay, kids dehydrate fast. We have to go to the hospital. He didn't go into critical care, but he was fucked. And then they tried to get an IV into him, and he was so dehydrated they couldn't do it. They couldn't all the veins were not accepting the needle, and they kept poking him, and he's freaking out. And finally, it was so bad. I had to sleep by his crib side in the hospital for 2 days. It was incredible how much trouble that was. It was really, really ugly. They may have a vaccine for that now, but you know how it is nowadays. All the fucking oath keepers, they don't even get vaccines. Did you see that all the cases of measles are on the rise? An illness that was largely eradicated, and no one's getting their kids the vaccine for measles now because nobody trusts the government, and all these assholes are pissed off. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in the world. For decades, we've had chronic illnesses, terrible illnesses, and diseases eradicated, disappeared from the country, from the face of the earth practically, and because everybody's stupid now when it comes to getting vaccinations. They're like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that now. It's going to give my kid autism. You dumb fuck. There was a point in Jim's illness that they said, look, in order to keep him hydrated, you have to, for several days in a row, not even kidding you, give him 1/2 teaspoon of water and or Pedialyte every 5 minutes. So literally, it was a game. I had to have a stopwatch set for 5 minutes, go. Give him the first 1/2 teaspoon of the fluid. And just wait, because if you start doing anything else, you miss the timer, you fuck it up, so you can't really get anything going. I sat next to that kid for 2 days doing that shit. That was the only way to keep him hydrated. Fast forward a couple years, Jackie comes down with same damn thing, rotavirus. I'm like, oh, no. So immediately I started the regimen every 5 minutes, fluid. If you can keep your kid from getting dehydrated, you're in good shape. Oh, my God. So if that ever happens to you, just remember, rotavirus, EZ told you, keep your kids hydrated. Kenny says, yes. Have you ever had babies spit up, spew into your mouth? I did not, but Diana did. She was holding Jim over her head, he was looking down at her, out of her mouth, puke, right into her mouth. Right into her mouth. Tim says, I'll take baby spit up over puke any day. The infamous orange sawdust that the janitor would throw down to soak up the vomit. Tim adds, I wonder if the janitorial scientist is cleaning up all that puke in the school. Adam says, would you rather have a C-hold with autism? Do you mean child? A child with autism, or lose your child to a disease that could have been avoided if you got one shot? Well, the fact of the matter is, vaccines don't cause autism. Tim writes, freeze the Pedialyte in small ice cubes for sick kids. It's a good idea. All right. But I am back from the dead. Concerning this radio show, back to that. So I'm buying this piece of equipment, and this is how it goes in my world right now, because the radio station already is spending a ton of money to get me all set up here. Now, this was a conversation I had with one of the bosses, and I said this knowing full well that there was going to be some cost in getting things up to speed. And I said to them, hey, there's going to need to be some equipment upgrades. Do you want to go in half? Which I thought was fair. And the guy goes, nah, there won't be any need for equipment upgrades. And I'm like, okay. So then they looked at what I need, and they see there's a massive amount of equipment upgrades. So they're doing all this on their end to get me all set up. This is stuff to just boring shit. And then there's my engineer, Dave Grant. They said, do you have someone who can do all this for you? And I said, yes. So I went ahead and I hired the engineer. And then we're having a conversation, and Dave goes, who's paid me? And I'm like, oh, God. And they go, well, I guess we are. And so there's that. Dave says to me later, he goes, was I too abrupt? I go, whatever. No, you weren't at all. I go, whatever. You don't know those people. You're not here to make friends. You're here to make a living. That it's fine. If you get it out of the way, whatever. No big deal. Then we're sitting in here, and Dave visits me, and he goes, okay, you're going to need a new console. So the thing that controls the volume, it's got all sorts of faders on it. I go, okay, no problem. And he prices one out for me, and it's $2,000. And I go, well, I'm just going to try. I'm going to try to ask, see if I can pull one over on the new people that I'm working with. And I go, hey, I need an equipment upgrade. Uh-huh. Hey, how about we go in half on it? Now, remember, they're already paying an arm and a leg for Dave and for all of that other shit, computers and stuff, so that I can send this signal to there. So first I said, before all that, I said, let's go in on half. They said, there's going to be no problem. There's a problem. They're paying for it. So then I go, hey, remember I said, how about we go in half on this console? And number two goes, well, we're already paying for all this other stuff. I go, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. No, I didn't forget. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to save money. So I go, all right, no problem. Hey, you know what? Don't even worry about it. And honestly, it's fair. It's absolutely fair. Again, stepping over nickels to pay for or to pick up dollar bills. Stepping over nickels to pick up dollar bills. That's how it's going with the Eric Zane Show podcast and the Eric Zane Show morning show, which is not what it's called. The name of the show, I technically did not pick the name of the show. I don't care about the name of the show. I'm happy that they're happy with the name of the show. They're like, okay, send us your logo. And I go, you honestly don't have to use my logo. You can do whatever you want. I don't want to make this complex. All I need to do is get on the air. So then I'm talking to the guy who's going to send me this piece of equipment from this company. And he goes, we can't get it to you for months. And I'm like, holy shit. Are you kidding me? No. So now Dave has to come here and retrofit this goddamn old ass. What I have here is for podcasting. Okay? It's not for broadcasting on the radio. So there's that. But one way or another, we will be on the air March 18th. So from today, 18 days. Mark. In fact, on Monday, I think Monday. Let's see, what is this? February 29th. I believe either the 4th or the 11th, we're going public with this. So it's actually going to be like, EZ is going to be on this radio station. All right. So welcome into the show. Now that I'm up and running and talking a little bit, I feel pretty safe, pretty secure that I can get through this damn thing. No problem. No problem. But yesterday, it was damn important that I take that day off. I skipped the hockey game, which is rare. I don't miss hockey games, but I had to yesterday. Thank you to all of you who were patient and suggested that I do exactly that, just kind of like lay low for the day. That absolutely did help me. Pooh Bear was kind of like, you should take today off too. And I'm like, no, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this thing, see if I can't make it happen. And I can always just pull the plug. No big deal, in case I get in the weeds. We have a Big Fraud Sunday coming up this week. That has never happened before, a Big Fraud Sunday. So Ben and I, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, will kick off the weekend, the Big Fraud Sunday, I should say, with Who Are These Zanes? Ben is going to cover some of these horrible commercials that I had to make for various businesses 30 years ago. One is a nightclub. Another one is a strip joint. And the other bit is a comedy bit that I did that Joe wrote, Joe Volk. He'll have that. I have for you an interview that I would do, an interview I did with a former Detroit Pistons basketball player. Back in the day, we paid a guy who was on the Pistons back then, named Mark Macon, a few bucks to be on the show with us each week. And my interviewing skills are so bad. God damn it. It's just one thing after another. There are people that work in radio who have a tendency to, as soon as they start, they're very good. The one that comes to mind the most is a guy by the name of Jim Costa. The second that guy turned on a microphone, even at a young age, he was proficient and good at it. I don't think I've ever been good at this at any one point. I think nowadays I take my time a little bit more and can actually conduct an interview appropriately. But, I mean, seriously, we're talking years, decades of effort, and never any progress. It is a miracle that anyone would even want to have me on their radio station right now. It's a flat-out miracle. Stand by. So we'll be covering that on a Big Fraud Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., and then the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast right after that. All right. So I got into a fight. It wasn't a fight with a guy, a listener on Patreon the other day. His name is, was it Brandon? I think it was Brandon. Let's see. No, it's Braden. Braden has this this view of the Gaza-Israel conflict that it's like, you know what Hitler did to the Jews? That's what he feels is happening there. And there are some people who, like if you were to interview or talk to scholars right now, some actually agree with that, say this is in fact a genocide. Others not so much. This all starting October 7th when, the Gaza Strip is run by a terror organization, Hamas. And the people that live in Gaza voted to put them in power. And now these maniacs wait for opportunities to try to slaughter Israelis. And they were successful at it on October 7th. Cut through a fence, attack people randomly. Thousands, like 1,300 Israelis minding their own business at a music festival. These maniacs come in and shoot everybody. Fucking horrible. Israel responds in kind, starts bombing the shit out of them, and says, all right, we're going to put an end to this once and for all. We're going to root out this terror organization. Problem is, Hamas blends in with the people that live there. So you got Israel coming in and doing whatever they can to put an end to this. Well, anyway, so that's how that goes. Well, this guy signs up not long ago, January, on Patreon. Seems like a nice dude. He sent a nice email when he signed up saying, hey, I used to listen to Free Beer and Hot Wings, and I'm finally over them, and I'm liking what you're doing. I go, oh, okay, great. Well, apparently, whenever I talk about this war, and he thinks that, like, I'm supporting genocide. Like I want to see dead Palestinians, which couldn't be further from the truth. Frankly, those two sides need peace somehow, but no one is actually giving an inch here. Hamas is like, fuck you, those terms don't work. And the Israelis are like, all right, fuck you. In fact, today there was a story about how the Israelis went ahead, from some accounts, we don't know the truth, but I'm thinking it is true. There was like some humanitarian aid being given to people in the Gaza Strip. They're giving out like flour and rice and shit. and all of a sudden the Israelis start shooting people. So this is the most horrible fucking thing on the planet, without a doubt. Well, anyway, he thinks that, I need to go on record as believing what he believes, which I don't. Hamas started this goddamn war, and Israel's going to finish it. I mean, the way I look at it is, can you imagine if someone did that to the U.S., which is what I talked about on Patreon the other day, how we would respond and you would want us to respond? I mean, fuck that shit. So, after I talked about it on Tuesday or Monday, he took me to task. And so we had a little bit of a discussion about it, and I could tell I was going to get nowhere with him. So I like, all right, I ripcorded. I go, okay, let's just agree to disagree. One of those things. The conversation we had was in between moments on the show, on the Patreon, where I talked about this. And then, so we had the conversation, and then he listened to that day's Patreon. And I think at the end of it, I was chanting, "Let's go Israel." And so he then went and canceled his Patreon. So I think it was a little bit too much for him. He is like a college age person, and that kind of goes hand in hand. People that are in the education system in colleges are all about that side of this issue. But anyway, I was kind of surprised, though, that he actually took it to that level. Like, hey, yeah, well, fuck you, easy. And I'm like, okay, free market solution. No big deal. No big deal. All right. Cole says, sounds like he's soft as baby shit. Go back to free beer and hot wings. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I can understand why you would say that. I wouldn't hold it against him, though. I mean, you get that in this. It's not a good position to be in, to be sure. Dan says, don't kick a person in the nuts without expecting a response. That's a good point. Are you saying him or me? By the way, when are we going to start advertising for the Dirty Donut? Last year, I think we started in right around this time. Ryan writes, God damn it, I just pulled a big fraud, left my office space heater on all night. Holy shit. Be careful. Tim writes, we should have Eric get sponsored by the new strip club in Holland called Tulips. God damn it. Great reminder. You can email me on the Shoreliner Striping inbox if you have anything that you want to say. And welcome to all of you that are watching on Facebook, X, and YouTube. But I do have to send you on your way. The rest of the show is available on Twitch. Either download the Twitch app and search Eric Zane Live on your mobile device, or just go to twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Download the audio podcast wherever you download shows. I will post that after this one finishes up. And as always, the Patreon, patreon.com/Eric Zane. You can sign up for 7 days free. You can even weigh in on the conversation between Bleeding Heart Braden. That is his new name. That has been taken from the mantle of Bleeding Heart Brian. It is now Bleeding Heart Braden. You can click on my Angel of Death episode, and you can see the actual conversation between Bleeding Heart Braden and myself. I give him credit, though, for standing up, saying, you know what, fuck this shit. You're out. I'm firing you, easy. But I guess my question is, you have to understand. Being that you are Bleeding Heart Braden, and I don't even mean that insultingly. You are. How are you going to handle the election? Because you've got Joe Biden there, who is, he has done nothing really to help broker a peace deal. The U.S. has given tons of aid to Israel to fucking blow up everybody in Gaza, but that's your guy who you have to vote for. What do? That puts you in a pickle, because if you're quick to throw out EZ, you gotta throw the guy out who's paying for the weapons that the Israelis are using to kill those people. So I think you've got another big decision to make when it comes to that. Which, by the way, did you see that deal about Trump? The Supreme Court is now going to decide whether or not Trump can be tried in the election interference case. He's got several indictments. Well, the one in Georgia where he said, I need 11,000 votes. Give me some votes. Well, that's going forward. Well, now the Supreme Court has agreed to listen to the argument about that whole thing. And they could very soon say he cannot be charged. He had presidential immunity, which means everything goes out the window. They just throw it all out. So, Trump has been more Teflon than John Gotti back in the day. So I fully expect the Supreme Court to rule in his favor. And then that's an entire lawsuit thrown out. I should say an entire criminal proceeding thrown out against him, which a lot of people thought would help keep. Democrats want to do everything they can to get that trial to go down, okay? Because Trump is unstoppable right now. You've got one of the most unpopular presidents in history in office right now. You've got Republicans who want redemption, all right? And all Trump has done is embolden his base even more. This is going to be so interesting to follow, all right? At the end of the day, do I want one to win? Yes, but that's not what this is about, okay? It's about, because no matter who's in office, for me, I look at this as like sports teams. Some of you might take this more seriously, but I don't. Because whether Donald Trump is in office or Joe Biden is office or is in office, business as usual here. I'm not changing a goddamn thing. Nothing changes on my level. All right? And honestly, I just sit back and watch the goddamn parade. And I know that you might think, well, it's a terrible attitude. Well, that's what it is. I mean, I don't know how. This is entertainment to me. It should be to you, too. My God. All right. So anyway, Trump's going to win. There's no way Trump is going to lose this election. He's going to win, and he's going to win by a lot. It's so ugly, and I don't want that to happen. All right? Easy. Are you going to vote for Joe Biden? Absolutely. Without a doubt. Is he fit to be president? No. He just had his health checkup. And I think the doc got his palm greased or something like that, because the doc's like, oh, yeah, he is so fit. He is, oh, my God, he's sharp as a tack. Come on now. All right. Thanks to those folks on Facebook, X, and YouTube.